Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Vatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 31, Narad instructs the Prachetas, text number 11 onwards. Shuten tapsa vakyam vachobhishchitta vrittibhi buddhya vakyam nipunya balen indriya radhasa. Without devotional service, what is the meaning of severe austerities? The process of hearing, the power of speech, the power of mental speculation, elevated intelligence, strength, and the power of the senses. Without devotional service, there is no need, no use of all these things. From Upanishads, we learn our relationship with the Supreme Lord is never advanced by simple study of Vedas. There are many Mayavadi sannyasis fully engaged in studying the Vedas, Vedanta Sutra and Upanishads. But unfortunately, they cannot grasp the real essence of knowledge. In other words, they do not know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What then is the use of studying all the Vedas if one cannot grasp the essence of the Vedas, Krishna? The Lord confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Vedasya sarvaraham evedya. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. So all the knowledge or education or culmination of that is if we know Krishna. If we don't know Krishna, what is the use of that knowledge? There are many religious systems wherein penances and austerities are greatly stressed, but at the end, no one understands Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. There is therefore no point in such penance, tapasya. If one has actually approached the Supreme Personality of God, he does not need to undergo severe austerities. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is understood through the process of devotional service. In the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, devotional service is explained as Raj Guhyam, the king of all confidential knowledge. There are many good reciters of Vedic literatures, but they recite works such as Ramayana, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes these professional readers manifest very good scholarship and exhibit word jugglery. Unfortunately, they are never devotees of the Supreme Lord. Consequently, they cannot impress upon the audience the real essence of knowledge, Krishna. There are also many thoughtful writers and creative philosophers. But despite all their learning, if they cannot approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are simply useless mental speculators. There are many sharply intelligent people in this material world, and they discover so many things for sense gratification. They also analytically study all the material elements, but despite the expert knowledge and expert scientific analysis of the whole cosmic manifestation, their endeavors are useless because they cannot understand the Supreme Personality of God. So what is the use of all these powers and knowledge and intelligence, so-called material intelligence, so much of everything, if we cannot understand and if we cannot serve Krishna? And this is what Narad Muni is telling the Prachetas. As far as our senses are concerned, there are many animals, both beasts and birds, who are very expert in exercising their senses more keenly than human beings. For example, vultures or hawks can go very high in the sky, but can see a small body on the ground very clearly. This means that their eyesight is so keen that they can find an eatable corpse from a great distance. Certainly, their eyesight is much keener than human beings. But this does not mean that their existence is more important than of a human being. Similarly, dogs can smell many things from a far distance. Many fish can understand by the power of sound that an enemy is coming. All these examples are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. If one's senses cannot help him attain the highest perfection of life, realization of the Supreme, they're all useless. So, but unfortunately, we as human beings, this is what we have been trying to do as with the new researches and spending so much of time in the laboratory figuring out different things so that either we can see far away with the telescope or developing newer technology for the telescopes, Hubble telescope or this or that, or we can swim underwater, we can remain underwater for a very long time in a submarine, or we can develop different kind of gadgets so we can even sense the vibrations of people approaching us or this or that. Ultimately, what's the use if we don't become Krishna conscious? So all these animals and birds, Krishna has already given them wonderful capabilities. And we are just trying to make ourselves better than dog and a fish and a cat and whatever, or a horse or whatever we can think of. What's the point? What is the point? But what is the use if we don't surrender, if we don't try to understand Krishna? Kimva yogena sankhena nyasasvadhyayorapi kimva shreyo abhiranyascha na yatratma prado harihi. Transcendental practices that do not ultimately help one realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead are useless. Be they mystic yoga practices, the analytical study of matter, severe austerity, the acceptance of sannyas, or the study of Vedic literature. All these may be very important aspects of spiritual advancement, but unless one understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, all these processes are useless. That's why Bhagavatam is considered Amala Puran. And in this, except devotion service to Krishna, everything else is just discarded. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, it is said, Bhakti vina keval jnane mukti nahi hai. Bhakti sadhana kare yahi prapta brahmalaya. Impersonalists do not take to devotion service, but take to other practices such as the analytical study of the material elements, the discrimination between matter and spirit, and the mystic yoga system. These are beneficial only in so far as they're complementary to devotion service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore told Sanatana Goswami that without a touch of devotion service, Jnana Yoga and Sankhya philosophy cannot give one the desired results. The impersonalists wish to merge into the Supreme Brahman. However, merging into the Supreme Brahman also requires a touch of devotion service. The absolute truth is realized in three phases: impersonal Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All these require a touch of devotion service. Sometimes it is actually seen that these Mayavadis also chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, although their motive is to merge into the Brahman effulgence of the Absolute. Yogis also at times take to chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but the purpose is different from that of the bhaktas. In all processes, karma, jnana, or yoga, bhakti is required. That is the purpose of this verse. Means without bhakti means pleasing the Supreme Lord by our favorable services. So without pleasing the Supreme Lord, one cannot even make progress in karma, jnana, or hatha yoga. So why not just take up bhakti process directly. Why go through all the other things? Shreyasamapi sarvesham atma hi avadhir arthatah sarvesham api bhutanam hariratmatmadah priya. Factually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original source of all self-realization. Consequently, the goal of all auspicious activities, karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The living entity is a marginal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the material world is the external energy. Under the circumstances, one must understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is factually the original source of both matter and spirit. So he is the original source. From him everything comes. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 comprise my separated material energies. But besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mind, which consists of all living entities who are struggling with material nature and are sustaining the universe. So the entire cosmic manifestation is but a combination of matter and spirit. The spiritual part is a living entity, and these living entities are described as Prakriti or energy. The living entity is never described as Purusha, the Supreme Person. Therefore, to identify the living entity with the Supreme Lord is simply ignorance. The living entity is a marginal potency of the Supreme Lord, although there is factually no difference between the energy and the energetic. So the duty of the living entity is to understand his real identity. When he does, Krishna gives him all the facilities to come to the platform of devotion service. That is a perfection of life. This is indicated in the Vedic Upanishad. So this is all the living entities have to do, come to the level of bhakti. And that means first understanding our position, understanding the position of Krishna, understanding our relationship with Krishna, and then engaging in the service to revive that relationship. And comes the next verse, which is very, very important verse. And all of us have understood this verse, even if we don't memorize this verse, we have understood this verse. And I'm pretty sure we all have and will use it in preaching also. Yatha tarormula nishechanena tripyanti tataskanda pujopashakha prano paharachya yathendriyanam tathav sarvara arhanam achyutejya. As pouring water on the root of a tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs, and everything else, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses and the limbs of the body, simply worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service automatically satisfies the demigods who are parts of that Supreme Personality. Sometimes people ask why this Krishna consciousness movement simply advocates worship of Krishna to the exclusion of the demigods. The answer is given in this verse. The example of pouring water on the root of a tree is very appropriate. In Bhagavad Gita it is said, Urdhva Moolam Adha Shakham. This cosmic manifestation has expanded downwards, and the root is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the Lord confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Krishna is the root of everything. Therefore, rendering service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Krishna Seva, surrendering service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Seva means automatically serving all the demigods. Sometimes it is argued that karma and jnana require a mixture of bhakti in order to be successfully executed. And sometimes it is argued that bhakti also requires karma and jnana for its successful termination. The fact is, however, that although karma and jnana cannot be successful without bhakti, bhakti does not require the help of karma and jnana. So karma doesn't mean activity. Karma means the activities which has fruitful reactions. So the point that this shloka Narad Muni is making and Prabhupada is making in the purport that just like when to water a tree, we pour water at the root of the tree. And the water automatically goes to all the branches, twigs, leaves, flowers, fruits. It automatically goes. And looking at a tree, if we think we can water each and every leaf of the tree and the flower and the fruit and then they will get nourished, no. First of all, we cannot water everywhere. And secondly, this is not how they will get nourished. They'll get the nourishment when the water goes through the root, through the main trunk and to the branches and to the sub branches, and then it goes from inside. Then everything gets nourished. Similarly, our body. We don't supply food to the fingers, to the eyes, to the ears, to the nose, to the different organs, to the hands, to the legs. No, we just supply food to the stomach. And from the stomach, the energy or the whatever the budgeted or allocated amount, it goes to different organs and different parts of the body. And every part gets nourished properly. Similarly, the root of everything, the source of everything is Krishna. And when we serve Krishna, here it is said, Krishna Seva, and the service means with love. When we serve Krishna properly with bhakti, then Krishna is pleased, and then in the process, all the demigods also get pleased. Means the service goes to all the demigods, the creation of Krishna, everywhere the service goes. But on the other hand, if we try to satisfy the demigods and we think we can satisfy Krishna, that doesn't happen. And moreover, there are 33 crore demigods. We cannot satisfy all of them anyway. So the root of everything is Krishna. That's why we are supposed to just serve him. So Prabhupada further says, actually, as described by Srila Rupa Goswami, Anya Bhilashita Shunyam, pure devotion service should not be contaminated by the touch of karma and jnana. Modern society is involved in various types of philanthropic works, humanitarian works, and so on. But people do not know that these activities will never be successful unless Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is brought into the center. One may ask what harm there is in worshipping Krishna and the different parts of the body, the demigods. The answer is given in this verse. The point is that by supplying food to the stomach, the indriyas, the senses are automatically satisfied. If one tries to feed his eyes or ears independently, the real result is only havoc. Simply by supplying food to the stomach, we satisfy all of the senses. It is neither necessary nor feasible to render separate service to the individual senses. Conclusion is that by serving Krishna, everything is complete. As confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krithoy. If one is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything is automatically accomplished. So we don't need to do anything else. But again, Now there are three categories of devotees: neophyte, medium, and high class, or Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Kanishtadhikari. So Kanishtadhikari only serves the deity of the temple and he doesn't know how to behave with the other devotees. Madhyamadhikari, he discriminates between devotees, between innocent, between envious. He makes distinction. And he deals with everybody accordingly. Uttamadhikari thinks everybody is better than him. He is the only one who's useless or worthless. But he sees Krishna everywhere. So now in service of Krishna also, there are gradations, how we serve Krishna. So but the level of Kanishtadhikari is, so here it is said, like just by reading this purport, we say, okay, by serving Krishna, everything is complete. So I'm serving the deity of Krishna. But serving Krishna means serving his creation as well. Dealing with the creation as well properly. Dealing with his devotees properly. That's very, very important. Serving Krishna doesn't mean we just serve the deity of the deity in the temple, but when we come out, we don't behave properly. That won't be considered as service. So Narad Muni further says, Yather Suryat Prabhavanti Varaha Punascha Tasmin Pravishanti Kale Bhutani Bhumo Sthir Jangamani Tatha Harave Guna Pravaha. During the rainy season, water is generated from the sun, and in the due course of time during the summer season, the very same water is again absorbed by the sun. Similarly, all living entities, moving and inert, are generated from the earth, and again, after some time, they all return to the earth as dust. Similarly, everything emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in due course of time, everything enters into Him again. Because of their poor fund of knowledge, impulsive philosophers cannot understand how everything comes out of the Supreme Person and then merges into Him again. Transcendental rays emanate from the body of Krishna, and when those rays, which are the Brahman effulgence, everything is existing. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Although Krishna is not personally present everywhere, his energy is a cause of all creation. So personally present, not personally present means it's not as Paramatma is everywhere, but not as Shyam Sundar Krishna. This entire cosmic manifestation is nothing but a display of Krishna's energy. The two examples given in this verse are very vivid. During the rainy season, the rain, by rejuvenating the production of vegetables on earth, enables man and animals to obtain living energy. When there is no rain, food is scarce, and man and animals simply die. All vegetables as well as moving living entities are originally products of the earth. They come from the earth and again they merge into the earth. Similarly, the total material energy is generated from the body of Krishna, and at such a time, the entire cosmic manifestation is visible. When Krishna winds up his energy, everything vanishes. This is explained in a different way in Brahma Samhita. The entire material creation comes from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and at the time of annihilation, again enters into him. This process of creation and dissolution is made possible by the breathing of the Mahavishnu, who is only a plenary portion of Krishna. So everything just goes in a cycle, appears for some time, remains for some time, then dwindles and vanishes, and then again appears. That's it. And this process of appearance and disappearance it's very much visible here, because here when we look at the trees, then they go through, like in spring season, the new leaves come out. It's light green, and then it becomes dark green, and then when the just before fall, autumn season comes, then the leaves change color and looks very beautiful. And then the fall season comes, all the leaves, they just fall down. That's why it's called fall season. And the leaves, when they fall down, okay, in the forest, they're not going to go there and do anything to the leaves. They just go they just remain on the ground. And of course, this is also Krishna's wonderful creation, that the leaves that they are spread on the ground in the forest. So when it snows, those leaves provide a cover on the ground so that the ground remains warm. And whatever the minerals or whatever is in those leaves, slowly, those leaves decompose, disintegrate, and the minerals go into the ground. And by the time spring season comes, those minerals are into the ground, and the leaves have practically become dirt, and the minerals go into the root, and then the new leaves come out. Old leaves are gone, completely vanished. And also in the cities, what they do when this fall time comes and the leaves are everywhere, so they just collect those leaves and crush them and make fertilizer out of them. And then again, people are given those fertilizers, they can use it in the plants again. So it's a whole cycle. It goes right in, I mean, we can see it right in front of us happening. But the same cycle happens everywhere. Narada Muni is giving example of the rainy season. Water is rainy season, sun picks up water from the oceans and drops it, maybe at the mountains, and it becomes ice, and then it flows down again to the cities and to the grounds. And again, the water helps, and then the water with the river, it flows down back into the sea again. It's a cycle, but it's all, everything. So similarly, everything comes out from Krishna or Mahavishnu, and in the end, well, there is no end because it's a cycle. It goes back into him at the time of annihilation. Again, it produces, again goes back. So the point is, everything comes from him, and as devotional service, we have to use everything in his service. Etat padam tad jagat atmanah param sakrit vibhatam savitur yatha prabha yatha savo jagriti supta shaktayo dravya kriya jnana abhidam brahmatyaya. Just as the sunshine is non-different from the sun, the cosmic manifestation is also non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality is therefore all-pervasive within this material creation. When the senses are active, they appear to be part and parcel of the body, but when the body is asleep, their activities are unmanifest. Similarly, the whole cosmic creation appears different and yet non-different from the Supreme Person. This confirms the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, simultaneously one and different, propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is simultaneously different and non-different from this cosmic manifestation. In a previous verse, it has been explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like the root of a tree, is the original cause of everything. It was also explained how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all-pervasive. He is present within everything in this material manifestation. Since the energy of the Supreme Lord is non-different from him, the material cosmic manifestation is also non-different from him. although it appears different. The sunshine is non-different from the sun itself, but it is simultaneously also different. One may be in sunshine, but he is not on the sun itself. Those who live in this material world are living on the bodily rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they cannot see him personally in the material condition. So sunshine and sun, the example is given. So we experience the sunshine every day. When sunshine is non-different from the sun, means without sun there cannot be any sunshine. But that doesn't mean when we experience sunshine that we are in the sun itself. We cannot survive there. So similarly, we in the material world, this material world is what? It's energy of Krishna. And this material world, whole material cosmic manifestation is surviving on the Brahma Jyoti, rays of Krishna's bodily effulgence. But we cannot see him. That's why we have to see him through the eyes of the scriptures. In this verse, the word Padam indicates that the place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides, as confirmed in Ishopanishad, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. The proprietor of a house may live in one room of the house, but the entire house belongs to him. A king may live in one room in Buckingham Palace, but the entire palace is considered his property. It is not necessary for the king to live in every room of that palace for it to be his. He may be physically absent from the rooms, but still the entire palace is understood to be his royal domicile. So even if Krishna, we don't see him everywhere, but everything is his energy, everything belongs to him. He can be present at any place at any time, it's up to him. But just because he's not present, or he is present, but just because we cannot see him doesn't mean the things belong to us. The sunshine is light, the sun globe itself is light, and the sun god is also light. However, the sunshine is not identical with the sun god, Vivaswan. This is the meaning of simultaneously one and different. All the planets rest on the sunshine, and because of the heat of the sun, they revolve in their orbits. On each and every planet, the trees and plants grow and change colors due to sunshine. Being the rays of the sunshine is non-different from the sun. Similarly, all the planets resting on the sunshine are non-different from the sun. The entire material world is completely dependent on the sun, being produced by the sun. The cause, the sun, is inherent in the effects. Similarly, Krishna is the cause of all causes, and the effects are permeated by the original cause. The entire cosmic manifestation should be understood as the expanded energy of the Supreme Lord. So here in the material world, everything is dependent upon the sun for its heat and light and for the existence, because without sunshine, nothing can exist. So similarly, in the whole creation, everything depends upon Krishna. Krishna is the source, Krishna is the maintainer, Krishna is the annihilator of everything actually. When one sleeps, the senses are inactive, but this does not mean that the senses are absent. When one is awakened, the senses become active again. Similarly, this cosmic creation is sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. When the cosmic manifestation is dissolved, it's a kind of sleeping condition, an inactive state. Whether the cosmic manifestation is active or inactive, the energy of the Supreme Lord is always existing. Thus, the words appearance and disappearance apply only to the cosmic manifestation. not to the spiritual world. But it is also said that Krishna's pastimes are nitya, eternal. His pastimes in the spiritual world are eternal, and his pastimes in the material world are also eternal. So, how do we understand that when the whole cosmic manifestation is inside the body of Mahavishnu at the time after dissolution, then how come Krishna's pastimes are eternal, nitya, even in the material world? So I myself haven't read it, but I heard it in a lecture. The Jiva Goswami explains that in one of his Sandarbhas. He says, when the whole material cosmic manifestation is annihilated, now Durga Ji is still there. Durga Ji is not annihilated. Maya, Shakti. So with her, Maya, Shakti, she again creates everything so that Krishna's pastimes can go on. It is mind-boggling. When I heard it, I could not understand. But that's the beauty of Krishna's pastimes, that they are inconceivable. Krishna's energies are inconceivable. So Krishna's pastimes, again, they were inconceivable, but they're eternal. That's for sure. Nitya. Yatha nabhasya bhratamah prakasha bhavanti bhupa na bhavanti anukrimat evam pare brahmani shakyastvam re rajastamah sattvam iti pravaha. My dear king, sometimes in the sky there are clouds, sometimes there is darkness, and sometimes there is illumination. The appearance of all this takes place consecutively. Similarly, in the absolute truth, in the supreme absolute, the modes of passion, darkness, and goodness appear as consecutive energies. Sometimes they appear, and sometimes they disappear. Darkness, illumination, and clouds sometimes appear and sometimes disappear. But even when they have disappeared, the potency is still there, always existing. In the sky, sometimes we see clouds, sometimes rainfall, and sometimes snow. Sometimes we see night, sometimes day, sometimes illumination, and sometimes darkness. All these exist due to the sun, but the sun is unaffected by all these changes. Similarly, although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original cause of the total cosmic manifestation, he is unaffected by the material existence. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, falsehood. All together, these 8 comprise my separated material energies. So they are separated energies, and Krishna is not affected by them. Although the material or physical elements are the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are separate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is therefore not affected by material conditions. Vedanta Sutra confirms Janmadhyasya Yata. The creation, maintenance, and dissolution of this cosmic manifestation are due to the existence of the Supreme Lord. Nonetheless, the Lord is unaffected by all these changes in the material elements. This is indicated by the word pravaha, emanation. The sun always shines brilliantly and is not affected by clouds or darkness. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always present in his spiritual energy and is not affected by the material emanations. Lots of technical knowledge, and especially on New Year Day, you have to listen to all this. But this is very important. See, Bhagavatam is not just about pastimes. Lots of philosophy is given, and Prabhupada's purports, they even clarify the philosophy so that we at least, even if not fully, to a certain extent, we understand the position of Krishna. Very, very important. Krishna, who's known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful, and spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is a prime cause of all causes. Although he is a supreme cause, the cause of all causes, he is still Param, transcendental, and his form is Sat Chit Ananda, eternal spiritual bliss. Krishna is a shelter of everything, and this is the verdict of all scriptures. Krishna is a remote cause, and material nature is the immediate cause of the cosmic manifestation. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that understanding Prakriti or nature to be the cause of everything is like understanding the nipples on the neck of a goat to be the cause of milk. So nature is not the cause of everything that we see. And Chaitanya Charitamrita gives this example. So we see there's this piece of flesh on the neck of the goat. They look like nipples, but they're not actually nipples, and milk doesn't come out of them. So similarly, nature is not the cause of the whole creation. Nature is energy of Krishna. Original cause is Krishna. Material nature is an immediate cause of cosmic manifestation, but the original cause is Narayan or Krishna. Sometimes people think that the cause of an earthen pot is earth. And Prabhupada gives a nice example here. So, matka. What is the cause of a matka? Is it earth? We see on a potter's wheel a sufficient amount of earth to produce many pots, and although unintelligent men will say that the earth on the wheel is a cause of the pot, those who are actually advanced will find that the original cause is a potter. Without potter making the pot out of earth, and without him rotating the wheel, nothing will happen. So original cause is a potter who supplies the earth and moves the wheel. Material nature may be a helping factor in the creation of cosmic manifestation, but it's not the ultimate cause. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and producing all moving and non-moving beings. The Supreme Lord casts his glance over the material energy, and his glance agitates the three modes of nature. Creation then takes place. The conclusion is that nature is not the cause of material creation. The Supreme Lord is a cause of all causes. So Narad Muni is again and again stressing on these points that Supreme Lord is the cause of all causes, and to serve him, to satisfy him is the goal of life. And if we do tons of other activities but don't satisfy Krishna, what's the use of all this? He's basically now is going to come to the point that he's trying to make. And of course, he'll still go through more shlokas, but the point he'll come back down to is one has to engage in devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Austerities like Prachetas did, karmic activities like their father was doing, is ultimately of no value if there is no bhakti in it. So he has already preached to their father, King Prachin Barishat, and sent him to the forest. And now these sons, they are already in the forest. They have done their material activities. So they are in the forest, and now they have met Narad Muni, and Narad Muni is giving them instructions. So they will also engage in pure devotional service. Tenakam atmanam ashesha dehinam kalam pradhanam purusham paresham swatejasa dvasta gun pravaham atmak bhavena bhajadvam adha. Because the Supreme Lord is the cause of all causes, He is the super soul and of all individual living entities, and He exists as both the remote and immediate cause. Since He is aloof from the material emanations, He is free from their interactions and is Lord of material nature. You should therefore engage in His devotional service, thinking yourself qualitatively one with Him. According to Vedic calculations, there are three causes of creation: time, the ingredient, and the creator. Ingredients means the nature. Combined, these are called Triyatmaka, the three causes. Everything in this material world is created by these three causes. All of these causes are found in the personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita, Sarva Karana Karanam. Narad Muni therefore advises the Prachetas to worship the direct cause, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated before, when the root of a tree is watered, all the parts are energized. According to the advice of Narad Muni, one should directly engage in devotion service. This will include all pious activity. Chaitanya Charitamrita states, Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krit Hoy. When one worships the Supreme Lord Krishna in devotional service, one automatically performs all other pious activities. In this verse, the words Swatejasa Dhvasta Purna Pravaham are very significant. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is never affected by the material qualities, although they all emanate from His spiritual energy. Those who are really conversant with this knowledge can utilize everything for the service of the Lord, because nothing in this material world is unconnected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So nothing is unconnected, so we can use everything, each and everything in the service of Krishna, provided we use it with the right consciousness, with the right mood, with the right thought of pleasing Krishna, with our service, with our austerity, with our whatever possessions we have. Daya sarva bhuteshu santushtaya yena kinava sarvendriyopshantya cha tushyati ashu janardana. By showing mercy to all living entities, being satisfied somehow or other and controlling the senses from sense enjoyment, one can very quickly satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardana. These are some of the ways in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be satisfied by the devotee. The first item mentioned is Dayaya, Sarva Bhuteshu, showing mercy to all conditioned souls. The best way to show mercy is to spread Krishna consciousness. So the best way to show mercy is to spread Krishna consciousness. The entire world is suffering for want of this knowledge. People should know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original cause of everything. Knowing this, everyone should directly engage in His devotion service. Those who are actually learned, advanced in spiritual understanding, should preach Krishna consciousness all over the world so that the people may take to it and make their lives successful. So this is most important activity. This is the real Daya. Daya is not just for the body, for the soul. Of course, we have to show mercy to the body as well, but more mercy to the soul. The word Sarva Bhuteshu is significant because it applies not only to species of life. The devotee can do good not only to humanity, but to all living entities as well. Everyone can benefit spiritually by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. When the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna is sounded, even the trees, animals, and insects benefit. So how do they benefit? Because the soul can listen to this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Ears can listen, but they will not respond. But the soul, because it's a transcendental sound vibration, and soul is transcendental. And soul can listen, soul can get benefited. So very, very important that we do this chanting, and that's why congregational loud chanting is recommended as a Sankirtan Yajna, because then when we take out Harinam, then anybody and everybody can listen to Harinam. Even the insects, even the microbes, we cannot see them, but they can listen, they can hear the Harinam, and they'll definitely get benefited. When the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna is sounded, even the trees, animals, and insects benefit. Thus, when one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra loudly, he actually shows mercy to all living entities. To spread the Krishna consciousness movement throughout the world, the devotees should be satisfied in all conditions. Narayan para sarve nakutashan bibhyati sarga pavarga narkesh api tulyartha darshina. It does not matter to the pure devotee if he has to go to hell to preach. The Supreme Lord lives in the heart of a dog, of a hog, although the Lord is in Vaikuntha. Even while preaching in hell, the pure devotee remains a pure devotee by his constant association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To attain this state, one has to control his senses. Senses are automatically controlled when one's mind is engaged in the service of the Lord. So that's how we control our senses, and the real use of this controlled senses is when we preach. So preaching is very important, and Prabhupada mentions, even if we go to hell, one can preach. So once one devotee was there, and Prabhupada was there, and Prabhupada, I don't know how the whole conversation started, but it ended like Prabhupada said, eat meat, but go and preach. And the devotee said, Prabhupada, if I eat meat, I'll go to hell. Prabhupada said, doesn't matter. Even if you go to hell, you go to hell and preach. So Prabhupada was so forceful. So point was, even if he ends up in hell while he's preaching, Prabhupada, I'll protect you, I'll take care of you, don't worry. But you go to hell and preach. Just like Narad Muni, he goes everywhere and he preaches everywhere. Yes, he has a spiritual body, but one doesn't get a spiritual body just like that. He has performed austerities and he had the mercy of Krishna. Now he can go anywhere and preach. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So Prabhuji,
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Wish you all very happy and safe and full of bhakti New Year.
Yes, Prabhuji. Very
Same to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Although you all are in 2021, I'm still in 2020. Technically, it is still 2020.
Prabhuji, we are giving you advance wishes.
Thank you. Chalo, so I guess we can stop. You all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna. Jai
Hare
Shri.
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji.